Greetings, I'm Septum Sin, and you're watching Septum Sin vs. the World. So, happy Halloween to you. Well, this is the spookiest time of the year, and because of that, I feel like it's time to end us out with another top 10. So I've done a top 10 on video games. Let's talk about another one that I hold near and dear to my heart, anime. Many of you probably don't watch much anime. Many of you might not know what anime is. Well, for those of you who don't, shame on you. Well, anime is basically Japanese cartoons. Now, you think to yourself, so is this going to be a bunch of like Halloween special stuff? Well, actually, no, not all of it. There will be some that are more Halloween-y-esque. But out of this, I'm going to take 10 particular series that I think are really neat, that need to be looked at. I don't have a lot, because there are not a lot of horror anime. I want to make sure I do something that has a physical copy that I've seen. So next year, of course, I'm going to try and do some different ones if I do another anime list. So we're going to start with number 10. So number 10, I'm covering a series called Another. Now we're going to go in alphabetical order, so if your favorite doesn't make number 1, don't worry. They're all, well, they're not all equal in my eyes, but it's alphabetical order. So if Another is your favorite, don't worry. It's actually quite good. For those of you who really love the Final Destination movie series, Another is perfect for you. Another is about this guy who's transferring into this new school, and he notices that everybody's ignoring this one particular girl in school. Well, he tries to, find out why, and all of a sudden people start dying off in these odd, gory accidents. I mean, the one that's most memorable involves an umbrella. If you have a light stomach for gore, don't watch this. Personally, this holds a very good, creepy atmosphere. You've got a nice little creepy girl character. You've got the creepy dolls that show up. You've got a lot of this stuff. You've got a mystery element. You've got a ghost element. A lot of cool stuff that makes a good horror film. So this series, it is about 12 episodes long. Sentai has released this. For those of you who are familiar with Sentai, there's actually a Halloween sale going on, so you might want to check that out before it runs out. This is gettable, easily gettable, and is definitely worth a watch. If you like horror, if you like the Final Destination films, you'll enjoy this. So our next one is unfortunately much rarer, and that is the Blood Plus series. I mulled over in my head because this has got many incarnations. There's the original Blood, the Last Vampire movie. There's the live action, which I'm not going to cover the live action, of course, not with anime. There is the newest one, which is Blood Sea, which produced a series and a movie, but I hate that one, so I'm not putting that up. This, however, I feel is probably the strongest of the particular ones here. So what you're seeing here are the two sets. This one's not so rare, but this one is released by Sony. Yes, Sony of all people. And this one basically stars as a tale of two vampires, essentially. A good vampire and a bad vampire. And all of the servants that they create. Half of them want to basically feed on humanity and take over the world. The other one wants to make sure that the stuff is basically the reign of terror is taken care of. The animation is beautiful. that the main character can be frustrating at times. The story is very intriguing. If you have not seen this series, I recommend that you find it. I think that there are places that do stream it. Netflix had it for a while, so it is worth seeing. Getting it is pretty costly. I mean, this one, last time I looked, it was in the 20s to 30s, so it's not that bad. This one, I mean, I got a used copy, and it doesn't have the shirt in it. And I've got like a copy of the manga in there. But if you want this, be prepared to pay at least $100 for a used copy, probably $400 or $500 for a new copy. So, you know, be prepared. It's a pretty lengthy series. I mean, it's like almost 50 episode series, so there is a lot of substantial stuff going on. A lot of good action. Again, very much worth it. As far as vampires go, this is probably the vampire series for you. Another one that is, to me, not as great, but one that you don't hear mentioned a lot, is Boogie Pop Phantom. Now, this copy here in particular is out of print, but I do believe it has been re-released. There's also a live action, which I tell people don't bother with. It's not really that good. But this one kind of follows a ghost story-esque feel, where people are kind of punished for their crimes. It is a creepy feel to it. To me, it's not the most spectacular series, but if you want something with a creepier feel, something that actually has a decent following, or used to have a decent following back in the day, Boogie Pop Phantom is a series that is definitely horror, definitely something that does have creepy moments. So, talking about creepy moments, sometimes anime and TV is based on video games, and these video games are pretty bloody. And we have Corpse Party. Corpse Party is an extremely bloody series. It's, these students all kind of formed a pact, but unfortunately that ends up transporting them to this evil dimension of ghosts, and these ghosts want to kill them in terrible ways. They turn them on each other. It exploits their weaknesses, and they've got to work hard to try and solve the mystery of why these ghosts are after them and how they can get back, or they're going to be trapped there forever as ghosts themselves. This is not one for the light of heart. You need to have a strong stomach for this. Very gory. And they show a lot of the gore. It's not very long. It's only 4 episodes. And the opening track so does not fit the actual theme here. So, to me, it's worth watching. Made in Japan is a good, small anime company that you should try and support if you can. Grab a copy. I have a feeling that it will eventually go out of print, but it's recent, fairly recent show. So I don't know if it'll go out of print anytime soon. So speaking of another one that's kind of scary ghost stories, we've got a series called Ghost Stories. This has been republished. I used to have the old version, but I went ahead and got the Discotheque set, which is why it's not opened right now. My 5-volume set has been opened, but I've given that to a friend of mine as like a Christmas gift, so I could slim down for this. This is actually, a kind of lighthearted, mild, kids versus ghost adventure. Kind of gives you that nice little Halloween feel. You got a bunch of people who go to this old school building a bunch of these kids to go to the old school building on a dare and realize that many of the ghosts that had been inhabiting the mountain have been released because of construction there. And they've got to go and try and put all the ghosts back where they belong, resealing them. Now, that's not what makes this spectacular. Matter of fact, I consider this a very mediocre series at best. Until you get to the English dub. For you purists, you're gonna have to put this on hold for this, because if you're a pure sub person, don't bother getting this series. It's not really worth it for you. You'll never understand why this series has a special part. It is special because of the English dub. These people, I swear they gave them and said, roll with it any way you want to roll with it. It is hilarious. It actually is. The way that they do it, they follow somewhat the same story, but the way that they go about this is just it's hard to explain. You have to really see it yourself. So if you get a chance to pick this up again, this has been fairly recently released by Discotheque, so it's very cheap, and it's definitely worth it. The English track, watch the sub track if you want, but definitely watch the dub track. It's trust me, it is worth it. It makes the series what it is today. So our next one's going to be a pretty rare series. It's not necessarily hard to get a hold of, even though it is out of print, because the company Guignol is actually no longer functional. But it's a show called The Gregory Horror Show. It's in 3 volumes. There's a ton of episodes. There's like 70-some episodes of this series. They're short episodes. They're like 5-10 minute long episodes. And they're all this old school, clunky computer animation. It's based on a video game that I really wish I could get a hold of, but I don't have a working PlayStation 2 that's open access that I can get the translation for. But there's something about this that is a tad creepy. And also enjoyable at the same time. People give this a really bad rap, and I don't really. I guess I understand why. It is a very rough style, and towards the end it gets very, very strange. But to me, it's actually worth seeing. I really enjoyed my watch through of it. It's about this guy who gets kind of trapped in this creepy hotel when he stops there off the side of the road, and he runs into all these weird ghosts and different creatures in there, and they all harass him in different ways. It moves on, like I said, to a kind of odd spot towards the end, but throughout most of the show, it's actually quite entertaining. The imagination they did to create these characters. There's one character that's like this disorder guy, who's all very lawful, and he roams the halls looking for people breaking laws and rules. Very creepy critter. I can imagine playing this game, trying to wander this place, avoiding him, so you don't get killed. Now, another one on this list. Now, many people are divided about the Gregory Horror Show, but for me, this one is not so much of a divide, which is Cocorembo. It's very short. It's like only 30 minutes long. Central Park Media released this, again, out of print. Sorry, guys. But this one is about a game of hide and seek played in this mysterious place in the city. It starts off like a normal hide and seek game. All these kids are said, wear these masks, go to this part of town, and we're going to play hide and seek over here. Well, this ended up being a ritual that summons these demons to go hunt down the children. So the question, of course, is how many of these children really survive this deadly game of cat and mouse? And, of course, if they survived, are they able to save the others? What's behind it? It's a very creepy, scary series. It's not series, little short film. Very much worth seeing. Out of all of these, this one to me has the most fright value to it. So check it out. Watch it for yourself. Curl up in the dark and enjoy this small but potent anime. Alright, so it wouldn't be horror, at least psychological horror, if I didn't have a little Satoshi Kon in there, now would I? So, of course, his most famous film, Perfect Blue, has to go in there. I thought about putting Paranoia Agent in there, and it might make a later list, but to me, Perfect Blue really embodies what Satoshi Kon is about. Paranoia, madness, general fear of what's coming next. That unknown quantity. You are following this teen idol as she decides, I'm going to leave my little idol group and I'm going to try and go my own way in my own little acting career. But her fans don't like this. And she learns very quickly what it's like to have obsessive people stalking her. People messing with her head until the point we get to the end where you never know what's what. This is probably one of the better movies in my collection as a whole, and I've got a massive collection. If you watch any anime movie, you should be watching this. Especially around this time of year. It's more of a thriller than a Halloween-y type thing, but it still has a lot of thrills, a lot of scares. To me, very good film. Now this one was released by Manga Video. I don't believe that copy is in print, but I do believe that it is available these days. It's not too terribly expensive. And speaking of things that are not terribly expensive, let's get to one that's more Halloween-y. And that is Soul Eater. Now, many people who know anime know Soul Eater. It's pretty recent in our current times. It keeps getting smaller and smaller in the sets. I think this is the most recent incarnation. I got this for $25, which is sad because I originally got it in 4 pieces for $25 each and thought that was a great deal. This is why you wait on these things. Funimation has put this out. It's 50 episodes long. It's about this group of students living in Death City, and you've got these master students, and then you've got these students that can turn into weapons, and the master students use the weapon students in battle in order to collect souls of evil people in order to kind of level themselves up. Now, this has a lot of Halloween tropes in it. You got a Frankenstein, you got witches, you've got evil demons in it. It really does follow this. This feels like Halloween. I mean, from the first episode where you've got a pumpkin witch, it just does. So this one really does follow that line. Now, I will let you know, just like Satoshi Kon, this does follow the line of madness quite a bit. It does like to straddle that little line, so be wary. So, next up, it's a series that just got a re-release and a full release. Matter of fact, on our pickup video, in our release video, we talked about how they did a full release. I was lucky enough to get this version here, which is the Ginyan release of When They Cry. Looks all cutesy, doesn't it? When They Cry is a very, very creepy series. Out of the ones on the list, that one is the one that would freak you out the most. It's seemingly in this nice cozy little town. But not everything is as it seems, because things get nasty in this town. As people start doing things like bashing other people's brains out, or poisoning food, or doing various things that end up in death. I'm not going to try and give away the story any more than that, but it is quite complicated. Matter of fact, if I hadn't seen it all, this would have just left me confused. So, you really want to get all 3 of them. Really, you can leave that out. Just get the first 2 seasons. The 3rd season, it's okay. If you really, really want more, this is okay. But in reality, you get the 1st season, the 2nd season, you're set. But now that they've got that big old set Sentai released and you got it all on sale, you got an opportunity to scoop the whole thing up in one go. It's a lot of episodes, but believe you me, it is worth it. It's got a fascinating story, fairly unique, great characters, and it is one of the scarier ones on this list. Matter of fact, probably the scariest one on the list when it comes to the disturbing factor and you worrying about what's going to happen. But viewer discretion advised. Violence against minors is used often. So, with that being said, I hope you enjoyed my actual 10 anime to watch during the holiday season. Get some blood pumping today, and I hope you have a happy Horrorween. I'll see you on the next one.